Around 40 kilometers from the nation's capital, Reykjavik, Fagradalsfjall is the most recent eruption in the nation's expansive volcanic history. Starting on March 19th of this year, and for the first time in over 800 years, a volcano on the Reykjanes Peninsula erupted. On the south side of the mountain, a fissure vent broke open, which is a large crack in the crust of the earth that allows lava to flow up and out. Fagradalsfjall is quite unusual because of this, as there is no eruption with lava being shot thousands of feet in the air and ash cover as far as the eye can see. Because it flows so slowly, the ooze created splatter cones, which are small cone-shaped structures made of freshly formed magma, resembling something similar to a cone-top volcano. Fagradalsfjall last emitted fresh lava on September 18th, but because it is a constant flow, lava made its way within 500 meters of the ocean, threatening roads and farms in its destructive path. During my hike up Fagradalsfjall, I was lucky enough to have a professional volcanologist as my tour guide, so next I'd like to share an interview with her about the volcano's effects on climate change. Does the volcano contribute to climate change, and if so, what gases does it produce?
Yes, volcanoes have a big impact on climate change. And for example, we have this volcano here erupting since 3.5 months. It's a tiny volcano, but still it produces about 10,000 tons of carbon dioxide a day, also about 4,000 tons of sulfur dioxide each day.
This map shows seismic activity in Iceland in 2021, and that large red clump in the middle is right where the Fagradalsfjall eruption was. The reason there is so much seismic activity in this spot is because a major fault line runs straight through. This fault line separates both the North American and Eurasian plates, two of the largest tectonic plates in the world. As of now, the volcano system has gone dormant, but this past year has seen more than 20 square kilometers of new volcanic rock be formed and fill in the valley.
You can actually see in Iceland the climate change because we have a lot of glaciers, and every year you can see the glaciers getting smaller. And this is, in a geological perspective, a very bad thing for Iceland because the glaciers put a lot of pressure on the land, and when the glaciers melt, the pressure got released, and the land is rising, and also magma is rising. So climate change in Iceland produces a lot of more volcanic eruptions.
Fagradalsfjall, however, is not one singular volcano, but rather a system of multiple fissure vents all spewing out lava, which is why so much mass has been created. This next clip is a time-lapse from August 18th to July 6th, showing all 5 fissure vents erupting and creating new mass in the valley below. On my journey around Iceland, I saw what appeared to be a different glacier every single day, when in reality there are only 4 main glaciers in Iceland. This is because of Iceland's unique topography, with mountains and valleys galore. In fact, evidence shows that centuries ago all 4 main glaciers were connected, creating a superglacier. The largest glacier in Iceland, Vatnajökull, is centered between tons of mountains, so as the ice has melted and retreated, more mountainous peaks are showing. This creates the illusion of separate glaciers, when in reality they are all part of Vatnajökull. A good way to visualize this is to think of a glove. The palm is the central glacier, and glaciers separated by the mountains are like fingers. Because of this, the main part of Vatnajökull will stay remotely safe from climate change, but the finger glaciers, which can be very thin and exist right off the coast, will feel the brunt of the impact.
So there, these big kind of rivers of ice, there's not quite as much pressure from the top as it used to be.
Yeah.
And they're melting much faster on their way down. So the big snaking glaciers you see down the coast, they are moving back really quickly. Last like 2 to 3 decades, most of those glaciers are melting from 50 to 100 meters a year off the edge.
This footage is from the Jökulsárlón Glacier Lagoon, where Semgin of Vatn meets the coast. It is adjacent to a large lake which has been dubbed a glacier lagoon because of the amount of ice floating in it. These chunks eventually float out into the ocean and melt, slowly increasing the sea level. My final interview was with my tour guide at the Glacier Lagoon, who was able to give me an inside scoop on how climate change has affected his home.
So climate change has changed this area immensely. It has, as the glaciers recede, and the glacier tongues have receded quite a lot over the last 100 years or so. Traveling what used to be having to cross the glacier tongues nowadays is done by the road behind me. They used to have to cross the glacier here to be able to continue on here in the east. So that of course has affected local life as things have changed immensely here in Iceland. And of course as this glacier that we have here recedes, it will affect actually water, sea level on a global level. They actually expect this glacier to be gone in 100 years. And that will have an effect on a global level of about 1 centimeter in sea level. So just from one glacier will affect us all.
1 centimeter of sea level rise may not sound like a lot, but multiplying that over every glacier in the world will lead to feet of sea level rise. I saw the melt in person on a glacier hike that brought both fire and ice together. Volcanic ash embedded in the ice that turns into a black slush as the glacier melts. Island nations and coastal cities will be completely submerged, and we are already seeing these effects in places like Venice, the Philippines, and Miami. Climate change is not a problem tomorrow, it is a problem of today. Long gone are the days of by 2030 or by 2050. Climate change is here, it is real, and it will not concede without support from all of us. It is the burden of my generation to combat these effects. At the COP26 climate conference earlier this year, a representative from the island nation of Tuvalu said, "There are already 5 islands around Tuvalu that have disappeared, and I want world leaders to set the pledges, but also act now before my country disappears." Thoughts and prayers will not solve the problem of climate change. Action will.